don't want to be a millionaire, and I don't want to fly on wings of silver and gold, and I don't have to climb the highest mountain in the world to find what I'm looking for, 'cause it's here when I'm with you.
We have good news.
What is it?
Mars is in the house.
I'm in a house, yes.
Yes, you're in a house, and you're in the house.
Yeah.
And I have other news, depending on who you are, maybe good, maybe bad. Brian has messaged me that it's a Hello Chicago week. So the bad news is Brian.
To the Foggy Bottom again?
I don't know. He's
or Swamp Ass, or what's it called?
Well, that's what the that Swamp Ass. What?
Well, have you looked at the weather in Chicago right now?
Well, no, that's what the caller ID shows calling from Skype to appear as. So the bad news is that Brian wants us to call him. And the even worse news is that Dune sent me a notification recently that Skype wants us to actually use its service before it throws away our credit. So we have no excuses to not call him.
Me.
But we don't have to call him right away.
Yeah. No, that's fine. I'm resetting things up. It's a little early, but I was setting things up still.
Yeah, it is a little early, isn't it? It is a little.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's cool. Now. We missed you last week.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was at a barbecue.
And we made a song for Sparky Toaster. He has to get a dog now. Because the song says
Sparky
he has
needs
a
dog? I think Sparky should get. Is he gonna get like a big ass? He should get like a big ass mastiff or something.
I don't know. He should get. Maybe a cute little Chihuahua.
Oh, Duke. He's getting a Duke.
You're getting a Duke. Yes, a dog named Duke.
Are Sparky big ass like Rottweiler or little ass teacup corgi? Which one?
See, it wasn't until after we finished making Sparky's Toaster song that I realized that I could update and change the prompts that it was using to generate lyrics.
He's getting a Doberman. Okay.
So that it could actually make a song that evolves rather than just make lyrics that are the same thing over and over again. And I am absolutely pleased to announce that Dune's Amazon has been recommending knapsacks to him all week long. So,
hey, my pro.
Hello, Mod Pro.
What do you mean? I say knapsack all the time. Why?
And this dude, he's calling it a knapsack.
What's wrong with the knapsack?
There's nothing wrong with a knapsack. I don't know. Is there a difference between a regular backpack and a knapsack?
Yes, there is.
Okay. Oh, so then my dad's not crazy.
No, a knapsack is more like a knapsack is more like you know the one like a duffel bag almost.
Okay.
It actually goes over your shoulder and it's a little like it's more like a duffel bag than a backpack. So knapsack's more like a duffel bag. Because
basically we had this family joke that there was this family gathering we were at.
Yeah, a knapsack is very much smaller. Sparky, you're correct.
So maybe we're all wrong and my dad was right, because we were like sharing funny stories and my dad's like, okay, I got one. I was at the airport and this guy was carrying what was clearly a regular backpack and he kept calling it a knapsack. And that's it. That was the funny story. Well, and I wasn't there for that, so I don't know if that's exactly how it went down, but that's the way the retelling about it does.
Well, isn't the reason they originally call them knapsacks is because they would have blankets and people put like things to sleep in and go like a duffel bag or stuff to put in it. Isn't that what they call it, a knapsack?
I don't know, but I know what my brother did was he got the AI song generator to turn it into a song, and then I took it and I extended it.
Oh, would you use Audio or Sono, or what's the Sono?
No, I've used both, but this one was made with Audio, and we made a song called "Knapsack," the Knapsack Man. That just to recap, that song. It's a country song, so let's just get to the first verse here.
I was at the airport. A man went through security. The man said, "Hold on, let me check my knapsack." And this guy clearly had a regular backpack. So I'm just like, really? This guy? This guy's calling it a knapsack. This guy's calling it a knapsack. This guy's calling it a knapsack. And then I asked for a Bar Harbor Blast.
And I think it's a damn catchy refrain, isn't it?
You say it found a Baja Blast?
Yes, that's another story. My
I like the Baja Blast. Those are good.
There was a story about one time we went to my siblings and my dad went to a Taco Bell drive-thru, and my sister wanted a Baja Blast, and so she told him to order a Baja Blast, and he ordered it as a Bar Harbor Blast, and they all burst out laughing.
Isn't a Bar Harbor Blast an alcoholic drink?
Probably. I don't even know if that's a real drink.
It's probably like I would guess it would be like whiskey, gin, and something else. What do you think?
It could be. I think it's
Alexa, what's a Bar Harbor Blast? Oh, she won't talk to me.
A Bar Harbor Blast is a type of festival that is known for its live music, food, and activities. It is a family-friendly event that takes place near a river. The event includes Circle the Food Trucks, which means that a lot of food trucks gather together. Barbecue of many kinds is served at the event.
Now we know. That's what a Bar Harbor Blast is.
That
I don't know if that actually came through. That's on the other side of the microphone, but.
So I decided that we need to put this stuff to use, and so I actually had it make a 60s California Sunshine pop song about how there's nothing but wood on Oak Island, and it goes something like this. And I really like the mood. It did a really good job of coming up with the sunshiny, poppy 60s psychedelic sound.
Every grain of slips through with each old map, the myth renews, a story we can't help but pursue. But the truth eludes a light on Oak Isle. The search goes on tonight. No, there ain't no treasure here, baby. Just wooden beams and sand so clear. We searched the shores both far and near, baby, but there's nothing we could steer. On Oak Isle I dream of gold. We dug down deep with hope in hand through ghostly tales of pirate plans. But all we found was driftwood strands, baby, and seashells on the sands. On Oak Isle, the legends growing old.
I love the organ solo sound it got here.
I really want Annette Funicello in that.
A what?
I really want Annette Funicello in that.
But it's the only thing I could nitpick about this song is it doesn't stick to a strict verse chorus formula. It almost like meanders into different melodies in different ways, kind of childlike in a way. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. But I do love the harmonies.
So we surf the waves and ride the tide with dreams of gold still on our mind, hoping one day we'll finally find, baby, that treasure left behind. On Oak Isle the stories yet untold. We searched through maps and ancient scrolls, believing stories someone told. Yet all we found are empty holes, baby.
Empty holes,
This mystery's
baby.
gone cold. On Oak Isle, a riddle without a prize. We ventured far with hearts so bold, hoping the secrets would unfold. But all we touched is faded gold, baby, a tale that we've been sold on Oak Isle. Illusions we've consoled.
I like the style of it, though.
No, there ain't
I hate that it automatically goes on and plays like the next version. Yeah. So that's Dreams of Oak Isle Wood.
Wow.
Yeah.
Has Brian heard this?
Well, I put the link on Twitter, but I don't. It's saying even in the '60s they knew there was nothing but wood on Oak Island. But I don't know if he actually clicked the link and listened to it, because
Oh, he should.
when you click the link from Twitter, it actually says like that the site's blocked or something like that. You have to actually like copy paste it or something. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck Elon's doing with that site anymore. I really feel like you know how you didn't really notice when AOL Instant Messenger was declining and ceasing to be a thing until one day you realized.
I won't log in.
Well, more along the lines of one day I realized, when's the last time I actually messaged someone on this? It's
I
kinda
did it all the time.
Well, for the last year or so, the only people I was messaging on AOL Instant Messenger was Addy, because he refused to
Oh.
delete it. And so
Oh.
yeah, most of my contacts moved on to Messenger or other things. And yeah, it's, you know what? It's kind of sad because I really feel like nothing really ever truly filled the void of the decline of AOL Instant Messenger. And now we don't communicate in the same way as we did. There was a time where AOL Instant Messenger was where you kept in touch with your high school buddies. As time went on, you still logged into it. It was where you made new friends in chat
Well,
rooms
that's what
because
Facebook is now, right?
but the thing is that I think the big loss, there was no thought about who you gave out your AOL name to. How many strangers did we give our names out to?
I thought about who I gave my name out to. The problem is other people's gave it out instead.
Well, how many people in the Sailor Moon chat room had your AIM name?
About 6.
How many of them did you know their last name?
About 3.
Okay, there you go. See, but on Facebook, that's your name. You don't make a you can make a dummy Facebook account, but you're not supposed to, and it could get flagged. Like, I have a Johnny Gators Facebook account, but technically that's against terms of service. It wasn't when I created it, but I don't know the last time I logged into it.
You can make fan names, right? Don't they have a fan name section?
You might be able to.
Yeah. I haven't done it, but
yeah. But anyways, so the thing is that it used to be that you just set up a dummy anonymous account with a silly screen name, and you gave it out. You didn't have to worry about privacy concerns giving out this username. The only concern was, do I want this person to be able to nag me and make a window pop up on my screen in the middle of everything while I'm in the middle of watching porn? But that.
Oh. Yeah, Sparky, how many did I know their address? I knew about 3 of them. I knew their addresses.
Right. Now, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But the point is that it was an age of anonymous friendship. And that's gone now.
Well, you can't do that on ICQ either. It's closing down next week.
I was amazed it was still open.
Oh no, you can still download update. You can still download versions of ICQ. They'd update it like once a couple of months.
My original ICQ account was closed out. I had to sign up for a new one. But the reason I signed up for a new one, I found a text document from an old backup that included a list of Sailor Moon contact ICQ numbers. I think Tams's was on the list. Mina's was on the list. Me and Mina had a little cyber thing going on for a few
mine was
weeks.
a very short one. I got it when it first was out. Mine was like 2455042. I had a very short and easy ICQ number.
Mine, I don't remember it, but it probably the original one probably was short because I signed up for it it was after LOL Instant Messenger, but I only used it for like a few. Well, maybe I actually had it for a few years.
You know, the best feature about ICQ was, right?
You could do the chat thing where you could see what people are typing and backspacing.
Well, no. The best feature was the button gators. The button was the best feature. You know what button I'm talking about?
Was it like a poke button that would make the window shake, or?
No, it was the Ooga button.
Oh.
Remember the one that was Ooga?
I forgot that button.
That was the best button because I would talk to people and it would be like 3 a.m. People would be asleep, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, Ooga," and they'd have their headphones on because they were doing something. I'm like, and just wake them up in the middle of the night. I got in trouble many times for that, but it was the best button in the world.
It's an Aragon, and
it is an Aragon. Yeah.
I mean,
that's also a movie too, and a book.
It wasn't. I guess that was technically the social media of the time, but it wasn't considered that, and it wasn't public. It was just a way to. But there were chat rooms, like AOL had their chat rooms, but if you didn't have AOL service, you probably didn't hang out there. Although you probably could.
I did not.
We were ICQ. We were IRC people.
IRC
you and me,
and
which was more the geeky techie types that were. I mean, I guess they're. IRC was one of those text-based protocols that generally people that knew about it or went in there were a little more on the techie side. So you probably had more of that type of an audience. But there were, there were different networks, different chat rooms. It's amazing. What amazes me, the Sailor Moon chat room still exists to this day.
It's a shell of what it was, I'm sure. I haven't been in there in yonks. So
Panadero and Yillist still sitting there and idle 24/7. They've not said a word in years that I've seen.
You know what? I think they probably do, and I know a lot of people do this now. They have a bot, and it's on their Linux server and on their Linode, and it's just there all the time. That's basically what it is.
And they've just never turned it off.
No,
they just,
no. There's no reason to turn it off. Honestly, if they just forget about it, it's still there. If they have their Linode paid for, that's just there.
And I pop in and I say hi. And sometimes I'll hang out there a few weeks to see if they'll eventually, because it'd be
you
kind
just
of
leave
cool.
your machine on for a couple of weeks, staying in that room.
And Sometimes I do.
Oh,
But I usually give up because after a few weeks of no response to my hey howdies, it's like, well, here's the thing though. Even if they did see me coming and say hi, do you think they're going to say hi back to K-Tel?
Well, first of all, it's probably like 8 generations since the last time you were there of people. It's probably cycled
No.
up with you.
Panadero and Yillis were regulars back in the day. I didn't talk to them regularly, but those are two. I know Yillis was there back in the day. I think she lives in Canada. I think she got married at some point while she was.
Oh, I'm pretty sure.
I remember
most of these
talks
people
of a
have married
wedding.
children, and
So, no, they were two Sailor Moon regulars back in the day, and I don't know if they remember the K-Tel name or not, but my username was a bit infamous back then.
I'm just saying that was the way people talked, is either IRC web chat, which was basically an IRC client built into a Java-based thing, or JavaScript, or ICQ or ICQ or AIM. And I think AIM will bought out Morabellus, which owned ICQ at one point.
But I actually signed up for a new ICQ account and put in those old numbers in the text document. Some of them had gone deleted. Some of them were still active. I think Mina's account was still active, but it hadn't been signed into for years. Basically, it was there was a certain cutoff point that if you signed in after this point, it still remained active. But that was still many years ago.
I didn't do that. Mine's probably been inactive.
So,
I mean,
so
I
even the
haven't signed
active
in
ones
since the
are
90s.
inactive.
So
Yeah.
since before Mod Pro was probably born.
But it's kind of sad that angle of I guess Twitter's the closest thing we have to an anonymous social media, but it's not really, and it's got DMs, but it's not the same thing. It's not a trading contacts and private conversations type of thing. It was a whole different thing that emerged alongside of the era of instant messaging.
Now we have Twitch and we have Discord. Discord's the big one, of course. That's what most people.
Discord's the new version of it, but that I don't get it. I guess Discord's. I guess that's what the kids are doing now.
Discord is basically an IRC client, a multi IRC client, many channels. There's audio video channels. I go to movie nights all the time with in other channels. And it integrates with Twitch. It works out well. A lot of people use it for gaming. It just all depends on what you use it. But
I miss the simplicity of AIM.
Yeah, simplicity was there. Twitch is what it is. I mean, I talk to people on Twitch all the time, but there's simplicity. And if they really want to talk to you, there's always. Well, most people use Discord.
But I think the point is, I noticed people are disappearing from Twitter. There's less interaction in Twitter.
They're going to Mastodon, or they're doing something else.
And those things are not taking its place. They're not doing that. It's we're kind of in the and then Google has completely ruined the internet with their bullshit. They've created a monopoly, ruined the internet. And I think there is a lawsuit against them now. There is some kind of antitrust type of lawsuit going on, but where will it go? And Adam Conover did a great video about it recently. I recommend watching it, because remember when Google's motto used to be "Don't be evil"? Do you know why their motto was "Don't be evil"?
Because evil spelled backwards is live?
No, because they kind of rose in the era of Microsoft being a dominating monopolistic force that was making things worse. Remember when Microsoft was a really hated company, more so than today or in a long time, and they were trying to, with their practices of bundling IE and things like that?
Yeah. Well, no, yeah.
So Google's "Don't be evil" was basically "Don't be like Microsoft." Of course, the thing is Google quietly dropped that motto years ago and have basically ruined the internet, because their algorithm is such that websites need to tailor themselves to Google's algorithm and the way it works. And Google, anytime they need to pad their bottom line, they add another ad line to their front page. And now they're at the point where they don't even necessarily want people to go to websites from their search results by having AI generate kind of a
There's a class. There's add-ins for your browsers. You shouldn't have to, but you can. There's like a Google Classic add-on you can run. But otherwise,
well, here's
you
the
shouldn't have
problem.
to.
But the problem is even if you use another browser or you get away from Google, that doesn't change the fact that it has ruined the way the internet works, because now people create their websites in order to drive the traffic from Google to them. And that's why when you go and look up a recipe for tomato soup, you click on a link, and instead of getting 2 parts this, 3 parts this, you get back in my youth and the good old days of tomato soup simmering on the stove. It's like this article format. And it's like, what the fuck is this horse shit? Why do I got to scroll all the fucking way down before I get to the recipe? It's because it's formatted for what Google likes to return itself closer to the top of the list. So Google has forever changed the internet for the worst. At least that's one theory that I buy into. Now, I'm sure there are other opinions out there. Google would probably say, no, they've made everything better. Trust us. What's this about wicker chairs?
Sparky's saying there's a musical chair contest in New York City right now.
Oh. Winner gets $500. It's getting down to the wire.
And I asked
They're
if
cheap
they're
chairs.
wicker chairs, so they're not.
Wicker chairs make great campfire wood.
Wicker chairs are awesome if you're wearing shorts and you get up and everybody has that wicker pattern on the back of their legs.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
That's what that's for right there.
That's when you know it's summer. My problem with Twitter these days, though, now is like, even if you get a funny tweet from an account that tweets funny things, if you want to see what people's funny responses are to those tweets, and you click on it to see the responses are usually bot-generated bullshit that have nothing to do with the original tweet, and some of them are hardcore porn. And, not that I have anything against hardcore porn, but Twitter's not where I go for porn.
So Gators, they actually just said there's a thing in your profile you can set now to say you don't want this stuff and it won't show you anymore. So there's a filter thing in your profile now.
I don't think I should have to filter because some things are blatant porn I don't want, and some things might just be a racy response to something. So okay, look at it this way. Yeah.
You go into a high school classroom. Are you going to filter all the students that are not looking at porn or looking at their phones doing other things? Or are you just going to sit in the room and see what happens?
I don't know. Well, I guess I could turn the filter on when I'm at work because I stopped.
Yeah, honestly, that's what I would do.
I stopped reading Twitter at work when I saw some big bouncy boob scroll on my work laptop.
That was probably a smart idea. I mean, there are some people that probably wouldn't do that, but that was probably a smart idea.
It's like, what the fuck? This is my work computer. Once there was a time I could browse Twitter on my lunch break on my work laptop and not have big bouncing boobs come on my screen.
Gators, my question is, when you saw that, did you have a conflict?
There was a microsecond of, ooh, boobies. And then I remembered where I was. I
wonder if there was a conflict there, Gators.
I will admit to the initial reaction of ooh, because they jiggled really nice. It was a well put together GIF. I will say.
Did you at least keep that in your cache for later?
No.
Oh.
If I want to see jiggling boobies, there are lots of options out there.
Can't you just use your phone?
I could. Although I usually have my phone connected to the corporate Wi-Fi, so I could turn off the Wi-Fi, go to data, bring up jiggling boobies. But I probably still wouldn't do that in the office in case someone walks by and sees jiggling boobies out the corner of their eye on my phone.
Well, it depends on who walks by. If it's that guy you went to the birthday party the other week, he probably
let me see those.
Yeah,
yes,
exactly.
Yeah.
But otherwise,
but if it's Candace in HR.
Candace in HR would say, I'll
that
see you in
would be a
about
no.
20 minutes in office.
It's like, ugh, this is going to be an unpleasant meeting.
Yeah, Warhawk says boob physics.
I was doing research for science.
Science.
Science. It's for science.
Yes. The
So
gravitational pull and the centrifugal forces and...
Yeah. So did you click on any of my... so you didn't see any of my recent tweets. So you didn't see the Knapsack Man song or the...
No, I didn't look.
Oak Island?
I wasn't really around this. Well, I was.
Okay.
Okay, I got home Sunday. No, I got home Monday night about 9. I got home, turned on my computer, and quickly woke up with an indent on my forehead where the J and the K key would be.
Okay.
Yeah, so I took a
So-
little nap.
Well, that's great. I got a little something here. I got a new theme song we made.
Wait, you got a theme song?
It could be a theme song. It's
Is
a
it
little
Brian
long.
approved?
It's I'm sure it is. And it even has a little surprise somewhere in the middle there too. So here's 6 minutes of theme song goodness for you. This is called Midnight Banter. So
Oh.
here we go. It's got a nice beat too. You can dance to it. It's music you can dance to.
80s groove, dance groove music.
Yeah, I put in some prompts for a theme song for our show. And What's
Did you
that?
play this on the Pie Pit?
no, there was no Dune and Johnny show yesterday. I was gonna play a part of this yesterday, and I had a story for yesterday, but I guess I'll have to tell it today. But anyways, it's got some great lyrics.
Tune in now for fun. Don't miss a sight. Johnny Gators hosted. Brian's up all night. Sir Mars with the jokes. They keep it tight.
Wow.
Insert title here. Oh, what a show. Brian Blues is talking. Johnny says, whoa. Mudro, Dune, Sparky in the know. Every week they're live. Never miss the call. Johnny's got the updates. Brian's got it all. Sir Mars with the giggles. Watch the numbers crawl. Insert title here. Oh, what a show. Brian Blues is talking. Johnny says, whoa. Modro, Dune, Sparky in the know. Don't miss a moment. Every topic's hot. From gaming to gadgets, they cover the lot. Johnny leads discussions. Brian's interrupting spot on. Laughter never gone. Insert title here. Oh, what a show. Johnny Gators talking. Brian says no. Johnny Gators talking. Brian says no.
No, Warhawk. Oh, no.
In a world of chaos,
We'll get you
they
the
bring
next
the
one.
light. Johnny's fixing tech all day and night. Brian Blues at the beach, party's going strong. But together they make a show where we all belong. Insert title here. Oh, what a show. Johnny Gates is talking. Brian says, whoa. Sir Mars gets a visitor. Feline surprise. Cat sneaks in stealthy. Mischief in its eyes. Brian Blues struggling. Green screen's too dark. But they laugh it off, making their mark. Insert title here. Oh, what a show. Johnny Gators talking. Sir Mars, whoa. Johnny in his chair, laid back with a sigh. Brian Blues reminiscing, coding days gone by. Sir Mars with a pun, laughter starts to fly. As they share their stories, time just slips on by. Insert title here. Oh, what a show. Johnny Gators lounging. Brian says, whoa.
Yeah, so this is the part where I asked for a banjo solo, and they gave me fiddles instead.
It's fine. Fiddles, banjo, they're close enough.
I thought that would be a weird direction to go in, and it works.
Which part of the
Vinyl
show?
records to retro games they chat. Johnny's got the classics. Brian's deep in that. Sir Mars adds the punchlines just like a bat. And with every episode, no, they raise their stats. Insert
You're
title
British.
here. Oh, what a show. Johnny Gators laughing. Brian says, whoa!
I love how the singer's turning British.
Yeah, I
and
was
they
like, would he just go British on us?
and they're going crazier with the woes as we go
Johnny's
on.
got the quad sound surround us all around. Brian with his camera, capturing life unbound. Sir Mars talks anime, stories that astound. Together they create the best show in town. Insert title here. Oh, what a show. Johnny Gators beaming. Brian says, whoa!
Wild Thing?
So that's our new theme song for this week.
Insert Warhawk here.
It's yeah, we're gonna have to make a follow-up song just for Warhawk to make up for the fact that I forgot to throw him into the list of listeners.
I like the ending. It kind of sounds like Wild Thing.
Yeah, but I still love the way the fiddle solo worked out. I just at some point I'm
Fiddle,
like,
then British.
yeah, because I was like, we need it's a good place for an instrumental breakdown. But what would be different? What would be weird? What would happen if I told it to make a banjo solo in the middle of an electronic dance rap song? And I gotta say, I really liked the way that fiddle solo came out.
Fiddle did pretty good.
It did so well. I decided if I were to release a 12-inch single with alternate versions, that we should include a instrumental country remix version based on that. So I made that. So So here's the B-side.
The B-side.
This would be the B-side. Midnight Banter Country Mix is what I called this one. And so it's just expanding on that theme of going country with an electronic dance beat. They describe it as progressive bluegrass. So, yeah, I guess this is what progressive bluegrass is. I mean, I do really think this works in such a great way.
This is pretty good.
It is. I don't know. I might buy an album of this for $1.
Are you
On
going to send
vinyl.
this off to some company to get it pressed on vinyl?
I could. And this version does eventually go banjo, so we gotta have to let this roll as it continues to evolve the theme.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I guess this could be like a modern square dance, right? You could do-si-do to this.
More line dance kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
It's
Swing
like
your partner on your
river
left,
stomp equals,
swing
you
your
know.
partner on your right. Just like they do down in Georgia. Hooray! Hooray! Go back the other way. Hooray!
This is music to walk out in a wedding reception to.
But, so you've all been at the square dance that has the line "Hooray! Hooray! Go
I've
back
been to one.
the other way."
Yeah, I've had that before. I've seen that.
When you get back, you swing. You give that girl a swing, just like they do down in Georgia. Oh, here's the banjo.
Wow, the banjo's good.
Now we're really building up to something.
Oh, electric guitar?
I don't know what that is, but I like it, I think.
Sparky, would you do musical chairs to this?
I think this would work as musical chair music.
Yeah.
I think I'll totally play musical chairs in this.
I don't know if I could do musical chairs. I just would, you kind of be stomping around.
That'd be fun.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. It's I think it's almost done now.
There's another company that does it. You did Audio and you did Sono, or
Yeah, I've done them both, and they both.
There's another one. Did you know? You've heard of A11 Labs before, right?
The what?
A11 Labs.
No, I've not heard of that one.
They're really scary. They're doing they do AI voices for the most part. And now they've added free sounds like crashes and a bunch of sounds like that to it. And they have a music generator that they're working on. Oh,
So-
congratulations to that person that I can't pronounce.
Yeah. Oh, what's this now?
Oh, Sparky. Look on Sparky.
Oh, the winner of the musical chairs contest.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to check that out.
But yeah, the
Go ahead.
the A11 Labs is one that does. It's now going to start working on doing music, like AI generated music, and it's scary good. It is scary good. Now I think you have to pay for some of it, but the voices are really natural. There's a lot of people that want to use it for other things, but it's getting really good. It's getting really good.
So we got a first-time chatter in the house. Bozaid writes in, "Hey, so hello,
Hello.
welcome aboard here." Sorry, I just need to wipe my nose for a moment. But yeah, we're just playing with, because last week I had no co-hosts, so all I did was play with some more of the AI music, because I did want to touch on that topic in the knapsack.
Oh, Brian
song.
wasn't here last week then.
No, he didn't make it.
Oh, was he partying around the country for the holiday?
I don't know. We could call him and ask him, but I keep hoping that I'll forget to. But
What?
I'm kidding.
It's easier to be interrupted from the telephone than it is in person.
Well, the thing is, if I call him, I don't want to keep him on the line on a phone connection for the whole rest of the show. But I feel awkward, like saying, "Okay, we're gonna hang up on you now."
Well, you can do that anyway. Just start when he starts interrupting, you actually hit the hang up button.
So, yeah. Anyways, so what I did, I had a topic for yesterday's show, and I don't see Dune in the chat, so I'm just going to go ahead and say this because the joke will be stale by the time we actually do a Dune and Johnny show. But every week I have to give a lot of serious thought to what song am I going to use for the opening song with the explosion. And yesterday I had "Guilty" by Al Green queued up and ready to go, but unfortunately there was because you got to play some Al Green. We all like Al Green. Al's got it going on. Play some Al Green. I don't know what you're all thinking. I was thinking.
So you didn't want to do a show yesterday, or you wanted to and you just hang up, right?
I wasn't gonna say anything about the name of the song or what the song is, and I'd let it roll. And if someone happened to notice the lyrics that are being sung in the background, I don't know. I wasn't going to be blatantly obvious about it. I was just going to let it roll and say, hey, felt like opening a little Al Green today. If he asked
I hate to say it, I don't think that topic's going to be stale for a couple months, so I think you're fine.
I don't no, the moment's passed to do that.
Well, do you have one called Appeal?
Appeal.
Yeah, is there a song named Appeal?
Well, maybe the Banana Boat song, because you peel the bananas.
Maybe.
Yeah.
The Chiquita Banana song. I don't know.
Yeah. Now, Sparky going, oh, here we go. Oh,
Yeah, Sparky.
Here we don't. Here we don't.
Yeah, Sparky. I won't talk that.
That was basically just my little. Like, I like to do a little playful ribbing with the music sometimes. And I don't know if it's noticed or if it's not noticed. And I usually don't make a point of drawing attention to it, although I usually end up talking about it here.
Yeah, because dude knows right away.
I mean, there have been times where he's like, oh. Yeah, but my favorite was when I opened up the after the Four Seasons incident, I opened up the show with a Four Seasons song that week. That was one of my favorites. Yeah, so we did not go live yesterday, and I was upset about that because I had something prepared, and not just my silly little opening song stunt.
Yeah, did say you wanted to take a chill weekend, so that's cool.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, when we last went live with Dune, I told a story from my high school days, which actually did involve a square dance, oddly enough.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was that old, and you were listening to that story because you kind of commented on that. Was that whole story about that awkward crush thing where there was the whole rumors and people finding out things, and then
yes.
she's like, "Oh, we should be friends first," and I was like, "Okay," but I didn't know how to be friends with her, and so nothing just happened, and that was that. And now she's a Facebook friend, and every now and then I see her post things about her kids when I scroll through Facebook. That whole awkward story. Well, there was one line in the story that Dune could have really pulled that thread, and he didn't, and so I'm going to go ahead and pull in that thread. So I'm just going to. Here's a little snippet that we kind of moved on past really quickly. The next thing she said to me that was really weird is she said, we really should be friends first because I'm not a very good girlfriend. Just ask Pete.
Pete. Can we call Pete?
So the question is, can we call Pete? And the answer to that question is no, absolutely not. We cannot call Pete.
Oh.
And there are two reasons for that. One,
is Pete now Patricia?
No.
Oh.
I have no idea where Pete is.
Oh.
But the thing is, if we did call Pete, he'd probably repeat a bit of rumor and gossip that was going around that I do not want to dig into because I have no idea if that story is or isn't true, juicy as it is. But we're just going to move on past that. But Pete and myself...
Pete's feet? Oh, no.
Pete's feet. No. So, Pete... There's a very good reason why I would not be able to call Pete. And that's because Pete is not someone that would have ever reached out to be Facebook friends with me. Pete and myself were not friends. And by the end of high school, we were very much not friends. I wouldn't say we were rivals or enemies. Because basically, let's just say we left high school with me wanting nothing to do with him and wanting him to just leave me alone, and him hating me to the point of wanting to annoy me. And so this is the story that we could kind of dwell on here. Because so Pete was at some point dating this girl that I then had a crush on, but by the time I had a crush on the girl, they had broken up. And Pete went and dated someone else. And we'll go ahead and use another first name here. So he goes on and dates another girl named Danielle. Not Facebook friends with Danielle either. No idea what she's up to anyways. And Pete and myself were juniors. And Danielle was a senior. And it was a Catholic...
You're going after the older girl.
He went after the older girl.
Yeah,
Sparky
yes.
wants to use Jill as a name.
Yeah, Jill. Jill is a good name.
Jill's a good name, but we
Yeah.
already said her name's Danielle. So
Oh.
I'm sure there were plenty of Danielles at this school, though. If you even... personally, I don't care if these two people figure out I'm talking about them because I don't give a shit about these people anymore.
You
But
know,
I'm not
Dude
gonna
would
give
say, Dude would say, is Danielle a Facebook friend?
no,
Oh.
absolutely no. But I was briefly married to her
Okay, there you go.
for make believe.
Oh,
Because being a Catholic high school, the junior and senior years were split up into 4 religion classes that were each a semester long that were made up of juniors and seniors. Basically, your junior and senior year, you had to take these 4 religion classes, 1 per semester, and you could fit them in your schedule, whatever order they went in. So for those 2 years, those were classes that you might very well be attending alongside people that are 1 year above you or 1 year behind you. And so myself and Danielle happened to sit next to each other in the religion class that was basically on about marriage and preparing for marriage.
wait. There's a religion. The religion class is about marriage and preparing for marriage.
Well, that was the class that if you were going to carry around a flack of sour, a sack of flour. Did I say a flack of sour?
The flack of sour is what you carry around nowadays. But
If you're gonna carry around a sack of flour, it would be in the context of the religion class for marriage prep.
so you got a sack of flour. I got an egg.
You know what? Our class ran out of time. We didn't get the sacks of flour. We only got to do budgets. So
We had to supply our own egg. So I don't know.
other classes did do the sack of flour. Some did the eggs. Genocide Rob got to carry around a sack of flour, and I know that because I remember one time we go out to the mall, and it's like, hey, how's the flower project going? He goes, oh, good. My baby's in the back seat on the floor. And I look in the back, sure enough, there's a sack of flour with a face drawn in on the floor of the car in the back seat.
See,
I'm like,
there you go.
you were supposed to hire a babysitter. You're not supposed to leave it in the car while you go shopping and hang out
It's
at
okay.
the
It's a
mall.
little warm. Did you make sure all the windows are rolled up?
No. Yeah, well, rolled up, yes. So, yeah.
Nice
yeah,
warm
he'd be like,
sack of flour.
he did not take it seriously at all. He just like, all right, don't go anywhere. Stay in the car as we walked away.
Gators, this is what he needed to do. This is what he
Yeah.
needed to do. The last
Yeah.
day of class, when everything is due, you hand the teacher a loaf of bread and say, this is what's in my baby. Delicious. Delicious.
I made a nice sourdough.
Seriously.
Or you bring in an omelet.
You bring in an omelet.
There you
well,
go.
mine was
Poached.
interesting.
Poached
You know,
egg.
Mine was interesting. My egg was okay. The first one wasn't hard boiled all the way, so it went sour. It started going rank in the middle of the project. I'm sitting there bringing it in, and people are like, "What's that smell?" And I'm not thinking about it. I don't. You can get nose blind to things. So I'm like, I don't know. And then it fell on the floor, and just the room did not smell good.
Ooh.
So I went ahead. The teacher goes, okay, mulligan. And I'm like, exactly. We shouldn't say mulligan, but I said, yep. Mm-hmm. So I hardboiled another one. It's a different baby, but it's fine. It's fine.
It's
So
fine.
if your child spoils, don't drop it on the floor.
Well, that would technically be, you don't want to drop your baby on the floor, so that would technically be an F, right?
Oh.
You don't get redos in real life for that.
Shh. It's okay. It's okay.
So
the room really smelled really bad for
So-
like, the rest of the class.
So anyways, we drew slips of paper to pair up into married couples, and I was paired with Pete's girlfriend Danielle, and we put together. We had to do exercises, work together as a group, and come up with a family budget and things like that. And I will say I wasn't exactly buddy with Danielle. I think she was mostly annoyed by me in class sometimes. But I will say I felt that project went well, that we worked well together on that.
Did you guys share the assignment, or did one person do more than the other?
Well, I know when we had to put together a budget, there was a list of things that we had to figure out how much they would cost. And I'm like, that's not how budgets work. So, like, we're supposed to just make up numbers. So she went home. she asked her parents, "What do you pay for garbage each month? What do you pay for?" And she come back with a list of prices,
Yep.
and then it's like, "Well, what's your salary going to be?" The teacher didn't assign us a salary. The teacher said, "Just pick
1.8 million, of course.
pick well, basically it was pick a reasonable salary based on what you planned." And so I said, well, I'll be working with computers and IT, so I'll be doing quite well. So we got to pick a nice salary. So we had a good thing going with our marriage. It was I even brought in a Cracker Jack ring. I've reused that joke a few too many times now.
Well, it's fine. The Cracker Jack ring is perfectly fine, except those things are so cheap, they probably like cut off her circulation.
Now, here's the thing. When you do a joke like that, you just figure that the ring's going to get tossed aside somewhere or whatever. But so the funny thing is this became kind of a running joke among the band because we were all myself, Pete, Danielle, we were all in marching band and concert band. And so among the band members, they would kind of tease Pete going, there he is. There's the guy that stole your woman away from you. You know, he took your woman. And I remember like one time I'm walking by him while they're teasing him and he played trombone. So this would have been after marching season during concert season. And he starts doing like swinging the slide out, hit me with the slide like we're some kind of a rival. This is not why we're on bad terms. This is just pre-story. To pad out the story.
You do that anyway with people. Oh yeah, let me just hit you with the slide.
So how old was Johnny during this time? 16.
I mean, as long as he wasn't emptying his spit valve on you, it's fine.
No, he didn't empty his spit valve. He just did a little playful, like, I'm going to hit you with my
jab
slide.
with the slide.
Jab.
Yeah.
And so it was a little joke thing going, and I didn't think much of it because I wasn't interested in her in that way anyways. It was it was strictly professional. It was a strict we got married for business reasons.
You should have said oh, 16 you're going to be a tech.
Well, what else was I going to do? I played around with computers. That was before I started pursuing music recording
Brian
options.
says hello Chicago.
Hello Chicago.
Hello Brian.
Chicago.
You should have brought your baby and said, you know what, we had this child. It was exhausting enough. We don't feel like having another.
Right. Well, so anyways, the project ran its course, and I don't know whose idea this was. So one day after the project's over, I'm at my locker, putting books away or doing something, and Pete and Danielle come up to me. And Danielle says, well, I'm sorry, it just didn't work out, so I'm going to return this to you. And she gives me back our Bach wedding ring that I gave her at the beginning of the project.
She returned it.
She followed through with the whole, this is over, so here's your ring back. And I'm like, what am I going to do with this? Because it's not like it was a real ring or anything. It was just a piece of plastic.
You could have given it to the next girl beside. My girl just dumped me. You want a ring?
Yeah, I don't know what happened to that ring. It probably got tossed out at the end of the year when I cleaned out the locker.
It could have been a collector's item. It's such a shame.
It was a piece of plastic. I think it wasn't even a crack. I think it came from those like quarter machines at the grocery stores. That the little plastic egg type thing comes out of.
What you should have gotten is like one of those decoder rings. Those things were kind of cool.
So anyways, that was that. That was fine. Except that when it came to the marriage class and the missing out on the sack of flour, Danielle decided that she wanted to go for extra credit. If you know.
Oh, you gonna have another kid?
Well,
Wow.
So her and Pete, there was an accident. I think they called them.
Was she pregnant?
Pete got her pregnant. And
in any Catholic school, I'm sure that's cheered upon, right?
Well, I believe it happened the following year. So she had graduated. He was a senior, but everyone knew about it. At some point, everyone knew that Pete was still with Danielle and got her pregnant, and so that happened. After the story, we'll have to call Brian and get his funny Apple AI story.
Yeah.
So we got that to look forward to. So that was a thing that was happening and that was known among the band people and our groups and our cliques. And so this is.
Oh, and you're still going to band and Pete's still there, right?
Right, because we're seniors at this point. So at this point, myself and Pete, this is a year later. Pete and myself are 17 now. Danielle's 18 and graduated, roughly speaking for age, because
And
ages
pregnant.
could vary. And Pete had gotten and apparently Pete supposedly was kicked out by his parents, and I don't know,
because of the probably got this girl pregnant. Yeah.
he said that they basically gave him a choice. We're moving and you can move with us and we'll send whatever financial obligations she is owed to her, and you live with us by our rules, or you can get the fuck out of the house. That's the way Pete explained. I don't know what really went down, but that's the story we got from Pete.
Should they do that if he's only 17 though?
Well, maybe he was older than us. He might have been 18 actually. by
Well, if he's
then.
18, they can kick him out.
This was senior year. I didn't turn 18 till summer after graduation, but some people turn 18 during the school year. So he very well may have turned 18 at this point.
Was this a story about Jack and Diane?
No, it was a story about Pete and Danielle.
That doesn't sound as good.
And they if they spend a little more time at the Tasty Freeze, a little less time in the back seat, maybe. But
I mean, ice cream or dessert? Which would you rather have?
put your hands together.
That is not in all schools. Just saying.
Anyways, so that's also so this kind of leads into, at some point Pete started being really nasty towards me out of nowhere, it was like, and he was being very antagonistic and pissing me off. And I remember being pissed off by him and telling him, get away from me, leave me alone, go away, and he wouldn't. And that was unusual, because most people that, would bug me, it was like they would bug me, they push my buttons, but then that was it. It was, but he was just being nasty. Like, I couldn't understand why this had happened. And at some point I started asking him, like, what the fuck is up with you? And he's like, he basically, I forget the exact words at this point. This is feelings and memories. But I know he said something to the effect of, I'm mad at you for a reason, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. He didn't say in those exact words, but that was the situation. There was some reason he was mad at me, and he wasn't going to tell me what it was. It was kind of a you know what you did type of thing, and it's like, really, I don't.
What'd you do?
Well, here's what I figured out later, because at some point during the situation, I'm like, what the hell did I ever do to you? He's like, it's not what you did, it's what you said. What the hell have I ever said about you? I don't talk about. He's like, it's not what you said about me. And I still didn't figure it out at the time, but later on when I thought back, I start remembering a few things, and it's like, oh, that, which was totally not my fault.
Just Gators. If we're in high school, it's always our fault. We just never think it's our fault.
So one day, I was at we were Sparky wants the clapping sound.
No, not that. Oh my god.
That was that's a recording from
That's someone clapping their hands.
So yeah, I might have said something. Well, here's what happened. Someone told a good one-liner, and it was timed so perfectly, and I may have retold the story, and he may have heard me retelling the story. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to retell it again.
Okay.
So we're sitting we're in the cafeteria at lunchtime, sitting around the table, and Pete comes up to the table, and he walks up, and he says, Mary's pregnancy was not a miracle. It was a cover for Mary and Joseph's premarital sex. And that's why Danielle is giving birth to Christ Jr. And with that, he kind of did like a mic drop type of moment. He didn't literally do a mic drop, but basically he laid that line out.
What?
And then he walked off.
How do you respond to that?
He just walked. Well, here's how someone else responded to that. Another guy at the table responded to that. It said, after he walked away and was out of earshot, he responded, yeah, the Antichrist. So, it was one of those moments that you really had to be there, because the timing was beautiful, that Pete does this thing like he dropped a real funny punchline, and he walked off like he dropped the mic, and then the real punchline came in. Yeah, the Antichrist. And I thought that was hilarious, the timing of it, that the other guy at the table had that line at the right time, at the right moment. He had it. It came in, he said it. We all had a laugh. It was great. So apparently I repeated this line to someone like, oh, you should have heard. It was Pete said this thing, and then Bob said that thing. And it was real funny. And I guess word got back to Pete that I was repeating that, or word got to Pete that I said it. So I don't know if Pete thought I was the one that said it, or if Pete was just pissed off that I was repeating it. But
Don't
because
sit there and take. You know what? He should have just laughed. He goes, "Yeah, that's actually pretty funny." I just let it go. What are people's problems?
For all I know, word got to him like, hey, dude, Gator says that you're giving birth, that your kid's going to be the Antichrist. You know,
Was there a game of telephone going on there?
I don't know, because he wouldn't tell me what was going on and wouldn't talk about it. This is my theory. That's the only thing I can think of that I ever said kind of negative about people that he cared about that would get him angry at me. So here's how this. So situations like this always have a defining moment where it goes down, and that's the event that pretty much brings it to an end. And this one involves a nun. So,
You realize that kid is probably over 30 years old now?
oh, yeah. You might be listening to the show right now.
Oh, is that the person that just showed up?
That could be for all we know.
Yeah. That guy's like, you know, those are my parents. We'll see what you have to say
My
today.
parents' name are Pete and Danielle, and they did go to a Catholic high school together.
Who knew?
Like, wait, Sparky goes, wait, this was the baby daddy who said that? No, the baby daddy said the joke about she's giving birth to Christ Jr. It was another guy at the table that said, yeah, the Antichrist. And then I repeated that joke, and then he got mad at me. And so at some point, I was just like, I was basically like, dude, leave me the fuck alone. Get the fuck away from me and leave me the fuck alone. And he wouldn't. And he pissed me off so much that at some point I wrote what is probably, if it still exists, the earliest Gators rant on record. I took pen to paper and I wrote out, I think, a full page, front and back, single spaced, with liberal use of the F word, to the effect of, I don't know what the fuck your problem is. I don't know why you won't fucking leave me alone. I don't want anything to do with you. I don't want any problems with you. I have nothing against you. I just want to be fucking left alone.
Was it all in capital letters?
No, it was not, but it was in print. It was cased properly. So that, and here's the thought. Some of you might be thinking, well, Gators, why in the fuck would you write this letter under your penmanship and sign it that uses liberal use of cursing that's frowned upon by the school you go to? I didn't think Pete would have the balls to turn over to someone when the topic of the letter is the way that he's being really rotten to me. You know, it'd be like turning himself in to turn that letter over to someone. So I figured I'd say my piece and tell him to fuck off already, and either he'd ignore it and toss it away, or he'd go on still badgering me, but at least I said my fucking piece to him. So I put the letter in his locker through the slot.
You put it in his locker?
Yeah.
Oh.
I wasn't going to hand it to him. And the next day I passed him in the hallway, and he goes, oh, Gators, I got that little note you left in my locker.
Did you punch you in the face?
I turned it over to Sister Dolores.
Oh, okay. There you go. Did she say nice use of alliteration?
I was mortified. Sister Dolores was the music director, so she was very well.
Wait, was she the one
feared.
that gave you the big hug and said, "Oh, that's great, Gators, good job"? Someone finally told him.
You know what? It's really not that far off, but that didn't matter at the time. It really didn't matter at the point
what did
was
Sister Dolores think about
you don't want you don't want a nun, especially the music director, when you're a band student. So like she knows you and is, you see her every day in music class. You see her every after school at band rehearsal.
I mean,
she was Sister
Gators.
Dolores. She put the fear of God in you. That
Well,
was.
Gators, I have a question.
Yeah.
What did Sister Dolores think about Pete having an illegitimate child, though?
I don't think she ever made a comment. That's not the type of thing that public statements are made. I will say that I know from experience that the school does,
Because I'm sure that was very frowned upon in a Catholic church or Catholic school.
but also keep in mind that a very big statement or important consideration in the church and in the school and in the religious education is that of being pro-life. So they want to be supportive of people who have made those mistakes. So there was no kicking people out of school over that.
Yeah.
That shouldn't have happened. But what are you going to do about it now? And they'll support you and try to see you through your education.
Of course they will. Of course,
Right,
they will.
right. So
Yeah.
generally, no, you didn't hear administration or faculty saying any negative things about it. Generally, they weren't talking about it.
Oh, they were talking about it, just not in earshot of any children.
No, I don't know what was going on in the faculty room.
You know, faculty room there, and they're all talking about it.
I don't know what was going on in the common after hours either. But anyways, so Pete had handed the note over to Sister Dolores, which didn't even cross my mind he would do that because Sister Dolores is the music director. She's not a principal. She's not the person to step in if students are having. But I'm like, why the hell would you give that to her? What does she have to do with it? Well, we're both members in the band, and I think she should be aware what's going on between us. And I was livid. I was pissed.
I'm sure Pete says, no, actually, Sister Dolores, she's the scariest nun I know. I gave it to her.
Right.
Yeah, that's
So-
probably what it was.
So I knew that she had it and she read it and that she had this piece of paper, front and back, single spaced, of liberal use of the fuckity fuck word, which is generally a word you don't want a nun knowing that you use.
She uses that in the comments too. You know that.
Probably not. Probably not. Oof. Brian talking about a girl in his public high school got expelled for getting pregnant. No one has no recourse. Sparky wants to know if the baby was a boy or girl. I forget. I know the baby was born at some point before the end of the school year. I remember photographs being brought in.
Are you Facebook friends with the baby?
No, I am not. I'm not Facebook friends with this family at all.
Oh.
No, because I called them
Hopefully
the
they stay
Antichrist.
together.
I don't know long term if they stay together or not. I honestly don't. So anyways, I was dreading music class that day because then I'd have to face Sister Dolores, and she knew how many F words I had written in that letter. I'm sure she had
Count 'em?
probably.
Wow,
So I was
pretty good.
dreading the tongue lashing that was in for me, and so sure enough, that class comes around, and she comes up to me, and she was not stern. She was not yelling. She kind of came up and she said, "Hey, Jonathan, Pete showed me that letter you wrote." And I just immediately break out and, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I needed to vent, and I probably should have never given it to him. I think it helped me to write it out, but I shouldn't have given it to him." And she goes, "It's okay. Just back off. Just I told him to back off on you. Just back off. Don't do that again."
Honestly, I'll tell you, Gators. This is probably what that means if she said just back off.
Yeah.
That means she knows that Pete was probably super stressed. If he had actually been kicked out of his house and had to deal with the child, Pete had some shiznit going on outside of school. And
but that's-
Dolores probably said, give the boy some space.
Well, that may be true.
Yeah.
But I don't think that excuses him for bullying me the way he did. And I think it was called for me to lash out at him.
Is it considered bullying if he just said stay away from me, though?
No. I was saying that to him.
Oh.
He was antagonizing me and bullying me because he didn't like that I repeated the comment about his kid being the Antichrist, although he didn't tell me that's why he was mad. I was the one that was telling him to leave me alone. I wasn't bullying him. He was bullying me. No, he was not telling me to leave him alone. He was antagonizing me. I was telling him to leave me alone. And that's what this letter front and back with liberal use of the F word was I don't know what the fuck your problem is. I don't know why you won't fucking leave me alone, but I just want you to leave me the fuck alone. Yeah, that was basically the theme of the letter. So at some point later on, he was badgering me, and I get pissed off
Did you
at
do
it.
the subject, Gators? Did you put a little on the subject line? Leave me the F alone, and then work on it.
I don't know. I don't remember. I'm sure sister probably threw it away.
Either that, or she still has it in her drawer.
If I left the back page blank, she might have written a response note to me on the back side of the paper and handed it back to me.
Did she get a red marker and underline everything that was wrong on it?
No, I don't think she did that. I do not think
Okay, yeah, Gators, here's your paper back. You need to rewrite this because your grammar here and here are wrong, and you missed this punctuation, this punctuation. This should be an exclamation point, not a semicolon.
So here's the thing, though. At some point later, I'm complaining about this. Like, Pete really screwed me over there. He gave this embarrassing letter to Sister Dolores, and someone said to me, dude, she basically yelled at him to leave you alone. He got the worst end of that. Like, that's the thing. He thought he was going to, humiliate me by handing this letter over to Sister Dolores, get me in trouble. Sister Dolores basically just nicely told me to just back off. Don't worry
Because she already
about it.
handled it, basically.
Because she handled it.
Yeah.
And basically read it and turned around and said, well, what the fuck did you do to him? I don't think
She's
said
like,
it like that.
Just a second, let me get the paper out. What the fudge did you do that?
Yeah. So basically, her response to Pete was, well, what are you doing to him to make him write these things? Why don't you leave him alone?
First of all, Sister Dolores should actually be impressed that you wrote a note, front and back, single space, with correct punctuation. She should be. That's extracurricular. That is extra credit right there, honestly. Because no student does that.
So that's basically the reason why we can't call Pete and ask him anything, because
Can we call Pete and ask for his child?
No.
Oh.
No.
Oh, okay.
So that's the story of Pete. And with that, I think we need to see if Skype still works.
Ooh,
and
we should Skype.
We should see. I do have the wires connected, and I do have the app installed.
Do
And
you have your phone set up right close to the microphone so we can? No, that was the old thing.
No. And it looks like Skype has updated itself to include Copilot. So now we have AI to blame when it doesn't work
nice.
right.
You can AI things.
We could, So let me do a test call here to see if it's still working and set to the right sound devices. Let's see.
AI will help you do that.
Okay, so it is using the line in from Realtek, and I do see level, and it's using the digital out that I have going through a DA converter.
Copilot help with that behind the scenes.
That works. Okay.
That works.
All right. Very good. So now the question is do we still have Brian's phone number programmed in this thing? I thought we did, but I'm not finding it
Called him
now.
a couple times.
Yeah, we have called him a couple of times.
Yeah.
Last
time he was at the Foggy Bottom or the Swamp Bass.
Oh, you know what's
wherever.
wrong? Skype didn't log in with the NHB account. Skype lined in with my personal account, but I don't know why it did that because I haven't used that account in forever.
Oh, you know what? Do you have Office on that machine?
Not a legit version.
Do you have it? Is that the account you use for Microsoft?
Anyways, no, basically it's my free Skype account. Let's see if I still have an NHB password that works on Skype. I do. Now let's make sure that the settings, you would think that the settings wouldn't change when you log out and log in with a different account.
Copilot's smart. It'll probably tell you.
So let's take a look.
There are
Line in, digital out.
versions of Copilot.
Okay. All right.
There's
So now this Skype has Brian's cell number saved. So
Nice.
let's here we go. Brian Blue's phone. So let's go ahead and let's give it a call and find out where he actually is.
Hello, Chicago.
Hello, not Chicago. So where are you?
Right now, I'm in Morgan Hill
Morgan Hill.
on
That's not far.
Highway 101.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, that's on your way to Chicago.
AI didn't tell me that.
So you've got a gripe about Apple this week? Is that what I'm understanding?
Oh no! This is a funny bit, right?
Okay.
So, when I made this reservation a couple weeks ago, it tells me, you get the email from the hotel, and AI says, "Hey, look, in your email, there's this reservation. You want me to put it to your calendar?" Nice.
Okay.
So I do that, right?
Right.
And then I'm at the hotel and what have you. And then I go, oh, I need to extend by a couple of days. So I make a new reservation, and I get this email from that. And AI says, hey, look at this. You're going to stay at this hotel. You want me to put it to calendar? Yeah.
Okay.
And it does that, right?
Right.
It's working perfectly, right? So then I'm done today, and I'm on the road leaving the area. That was Santa Maria.
Okay.
So 2 hours later, Apple Maps says, hey, do you want to go back to the hotel? Why? I've left there. Can't you figure that out? Not very smart.
Because
Did I forget something? Did I leave something in the hotel?
Because AI should be smart enough to see that the reservation ended, and so that is not a logical destination to select, is what you're saying.
Exactly. Exactly.
Because that's dumb
You know,
logic that
sometimes-
goes, well, you've been there a lot, so let's follow this trend, rather than, hey, your calendar says you're done here, let's direct you somewhere else.
Right. Or maybe it wanted me to extend the reservation again.
Yeah, you already did it once.
It
What's a
wasn't
few more
really
times?
extending a reservation. It was just creating a new one.
Right.
Because actually, because they were short on space, they moved me to a different room, so it was a separate reservation. So I went from one king bed to two queen beds, and I told the lady at the front desk, well, just as well, because I was getting tired of sleeping with my suitcase.
So Mom,
Because when you have two queen beds, you have the suitcase on the other bed, and you sleep in the one.
oh, so you can fit three people in a bed?
No, I'm there by myself.
Oh, so you don't
This
have
was
your
a solo trip.
So you don't have your wife and Asian wife with you?
No.
Oh,
He only
That
has
would
his
be more
AI
people
wife
then.
with him.
that. All right. So solo trip. So what brought you?
Of course, if you have,
Go ahead.
so how many cats? How many cats in your bed?
In my bed, none. They all sleep.
Yeah.
They all sleep in my wife's bed.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. You guys have separate beds.
Yeah. So
You could experiment if you get into one bed, see if both cats jump in that one bed.
that could be an experiment.
Sparky says Asian wives are small. You can fit many in a bed.
Thank you, Sparky.
Oh, I think Sparky wins tonight.
Sparky, it's
Oh,
that's
there was I'm not reading because I'm driving.
that's okay.
Yeah.
We read
What
it.
did he say? Not for airplay.
No, it was what Sparky just said. Asian wives are small; they can fit several to one bed.
I see.
Yeah, Sparky said it, so blame him.
No. Hey, whatever's funny, right?
Yeah, fine by me. Yeah. So, did you get a chance to listen to that that '60s AI song that I generated for you?
Yeah, I responded to that. That was cool. In fact, I posted on my Oak Island Solved story group on Facebook.
Yeah. So even in
I
the
said,
'60s,
I'm
they
not
do.
sure, in fact, It was a internet.com site or something. What the hell is that? But anyway, I thought it might not work for people, but it did. And a couple of people thought it was funny.
Yeah, even in the 60s, they knew there was nothing but wood to find on Oak Island.
Exactly. That's right. That was funny. Yeah. And actually, when you go into it, I think, you can see lyrics.
Yeah.
Printed out.
Yeah, it does print
that's
out.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
And it's actually ironic. I've been just kind of getting into surf music, and that's exactly what you picked.
Yeah. Well, actually,
the genre.
The reason I picked that was.
Did we talk about?
Go ahead.
Did we talk about surf music?
I'm sure we have at times. Why?
But I mean, did you pick it at random?
Well, I was about to tell that story when I got interrupted, but so I'm glad you asked to give me a chance to transition back into it. So what happened was one of my Facebook friends actually used an AI to generate a song, and let me see if I can find it, because I have a Facebook friend that he likes. He drives as kind of a weekend car a Cordova with rich Corinthian leather, and so he had AI make a song about his car, including singing about the rich Corinthian leather. And he asked for it to be in kind of the style of a beach 60s sunshine pop type of thing. And I liked the way it did that. And I was like, ooh, that was really cool. That was a really nice 60s sunshine pop type of thing. I want to hear AI make more of that. And so that's why I decided, I need to come up with a topic to have it make a sunshine pop song for. So here's the song that inspired me to make more 60s sunshine pop about rich Corinthian leather.
Yeah.
So let me cue that up.
Shining bright in the golden day, with the Cordova we'll find our way. Rich Corinthian leather, what a sight. Mustangs and T-birds passing right.
So I thought that was cool. I was like, man, I dig that 60s sound on that. So
so how much of the lyrics did you have to provide?
None. I just told it to make a 60s sunshine pop song about how there's nothing but wood on Oak Island, and kept extending it out. And
that's awesome.
That's what.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's right. Who needs musicians anymore?
No, exactly.
Oh, fuck. Actually, recently on some Facebook group, a guy was talking about AI and stuff like this, and the guy said, "Oh, I'll never use that." I said, "Well, do you use anything from Adobe? Because that's just full of AI. You know, it doesn't matter what product you get."
Well, I gotta tell. I gotta tell you, Brian, AI is inspiring me to rethink my future with my home computers. I've made a decision, and it's a decision that could change as things unfold. But as of right now, I've decided that unless there are some serious changes to what I'm seeing, I will never be installing Windows 12 on any of my computers.
Windows 12 or 11?
12. Because that's the one that's going to definitely have AI built in. They might add it to 11, but I've already got 11 on a few laptops around here. But
right. Well, but I mean that. What is the Microsoft AI?
What's that?
What it's called.
Yeah, it's Skype told me what it was.
Copilot.
Copilot.
Oh, Copilot. Yeah.
So I just
that in fact that flat out replaces that what is it, Cortina, their answer to Siri and Alexa.
Right. So
you know, which I've never my brother would use it, and I go, what for? Actually, my main computer doesn't have a microphone, so I can't talk to it.
really the thing is I do not like the direction that operating systems have gone in over the years. The way that they build in, tracking and locationing, and now some of it is practical and serves a purpose. For example, knowing my location means that when I open up Google Maps, it brings up a map where I currently am, which makes it really easy if I want to just kind of browse what stores hours are or what's open in my neighborhood. So that is a convenience that I have accepted and lived with at the exchange of giving away a certain amount of privacy. But as we continue further down this path, I think we're reaching a point that I'm not comfortable with. And so I've actually
I agree.
I bought a bigger hard drive, and originally I actually just put the new hard drive in and did an install of Linux Mint, which is based off of Ubuntu, and I was going to try to set it up to do anything and everything I needed to do, but I couldn't get it to work with my sound card properly, so I had to restore my Windows 10 and make it a dual boot. But I intend to begin a transition to become a full-time Linux user on my daily driver at some point.
Right.
Because I do not want to. Microsoft is. I've lost interest in the direction Microsoft's going, and I don't see it changing.
Yeah.
So.
Well, in fact, like a week ago, Google Maps asked me, "Hey, do you want me to track your movement history?" Fuck no.
Well, every month Google sends me an email of all the places I've been.
I get that.
And so maybe you want to turn that off.
Well, but I use it for directions, so it's not.
You could get directions without that history.
Well, but I use it for directions that have live traffic updates, so that I know which. I know if I want to take.
Yeah, but that's not going to disappear because of your history.
Well, I'm signed into my phone because my email sign in, all the apps sign in together. I open up Google Maps. I tell it, take me to the Jersey Shore, and it tells me if I should take the Turnpike or the Parkway. That way I know if I need to bring a towel. At Damon's Bath.
Okay. Even still,
house.
all of these things should be in the settings that you can select.
Yeah, I know. Well, the thing is
So a couple months ago we went to Washington D.C. and we were in the Virginia area, kind of near the Dulles Airport.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and we noticed a lot of people are not using the turn signals. I think they were working for the fucking CIA because where they're going was a fucking secret.
Well, Brian, those buildings are right around there, so.
Yeah, it very well could be.
Yeah.
They, in fact, it'd be funny if you see them do like a fake out, like they put on the left signal, that at the last minute they just turn right.
Well, that would be just an idiot.
that too. So, I don't know what I'm gonna do because, like in Windows, when I when I connect my my USB sound card. It takes the 4 inputs and the 4 outputs, and it sets them up like separate stereo pairs. So it sets it up like 2 different output devices and 2 different input devices. And that's how I run this show. But in Linux, when I connect it, it sees it as a single 4-channel device, which doesn't work with the operating system. And anytime you ask someone, how do I use this in Linux, their answer is, well, you have to install your music software and set it up in there. Because 99.9% of people are using this device with music software to record tracks. They're not using it the way I use it to stream with broken out into separate stereo devices. And so no one has a solution. So no one easily has a solution in Linux. Now, Mars, you're going to start saying, can you? And the answer is probably yes if you do a lot of playing around, but no one can directly tell you how. But
did you know what I was going to say?
Well, there's different like software. What is it, like pipe things or wire
I was thinking OBS,
frames?
honestly. I was going to wonder if you could set it up through OBS that way.
Through what?
OBS?
I just said right.
Oh, you were thinking more along the lines of streaming software. Well, OBS would, but I think OBS taps into the OS sound devices that are set up, not directly to the device. So I don't know if OBS for Linux would. And I don't use OBS with StreamYard. I use StreamYard. StreamYard is a browser-based
StreamYard
streaming
by itself.
method.
You don't use OBS. Okay.
Right. So I'm using the
Right.
browsers, which is using the OS sound systems. So I'd basically have to find a way to kind of set up a virtual stereo devices, and people, and then that's when someone said, "Well, maybe you should try Ubuntu Studio," and Mars, I think you saw how well that went.
I didn't hear last week's show. Is it okay?
No, I tweeted at them.
Oh yeah. That. Yeah.
They put the taskbar on the top
yeah,
of the screen.
You saw my answer to that. That was. I mean, it's easy to do.
Well-
It's just it's something you shouldn't have. I mean, Windows has it right. You take your mouse, you hover over it, you click, and you drag down
You're
your
talking
done.
about in Linux, right?
Yeah,
Right.
but in Linux, you have to go into like
I
the settings
think you can
and
move
the location and a
Well-
bunch of things and change
Well,
it.
let me tell you what I did, because I right-click on the taskbar, and it gives me an edit option, and then it let me drag and move it. But when I dragged it away from the side of the screen, and when I drag it towards the bottom of the screen, it didn't lock in. And then plus, it breaks it out in separate things. So like the start menu button was a separate object. So I had a floating start menu button in the middle of my screen. I had a clock somewhere else on the screen. Like it broke it up in all these different compartments and float them apart. It was a completely, no one in their right mind wants their taskbar to work like this. You'd have to be high on
Gators-
crack to think this
Gators,
makes sense.
I want my taskbar to do this.
Right.
I want my buttons everywhere on my screen. In fact, Gators, I want my start button to be on the third monitor to the right, and I want my task
Well,
manager
what kind
in the
of gripes
second
me is
monitor.
about Debian is
Yeah.
you get a new release and the whole screen is changed around. Why can't you just leave it the screen it was?
Because it's the whole
And
new
then have
new
new
release,
features
but the
you
whole
can
new
get
version.
it.
Yeah.
You get all these different desktops.
Yeah.
I don't know which one from another. Those are just names to me, and names that mean nothing to me.
Yeah. So, anyways, I don't know if Ubuntu Studio is a good option for interacting with my sound device and configuring it the way I want it. But also, Ubuntu Studio comes pre-packaged with a bunch of open source video and audio software. I don't want that. I don't know what that is. What I really want to do is I want to set up I know there are ways that you can set up Windows apps to work in Linux, like using Wine.
Oh, you using Wine, yeah.
So basically, I want to continue using SoundForge and Sony Vegas. I want to continue using those two software. Now, here's the thing. I don't know if installing cracked versions of Windows apps is something that Wine is going to appreciate or take to, because then you have these cracks that you got to run against certain paths. But Linux doesn't exactly path things out the same way as Windows does. I don't know how any of that works. Go ahead.
Should you go back to Windows 7?
If I was not going to want to be on the internet, maybe. You know,
Have you
I
looked at
realize
Tiny-
I've continued talking, and I'm really bad at multitasking. How bad am I at multitasking? I clicked the link that Sparky Toaster sent me, and I continued talking, and now I realize for the past 5 minutes I've been staring at this woman's hoo-ha. So I think I'm going to close this tab now.
So, Gators, have you looked at Tiny 11? Tiny 11 is basically Windows 11 without anything in it.
Oops. Did you share that screen?
No, the Sparky warned me multiple times to
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
share that screen. So unless the reflection of my screen is
Oh.
coming off my eyes, Dune writes in, so to sum it up, the dude that Caplock rages about hardware companies that only support 2 operating systems back and forward is going to use an operating system that high 90% of all hardware is incompatible. Is that pretty close? Well,
Probably.
here's the thing. I don't know what you're trying to suggest there, but are you suggesting that I should reward the whole system for only supporting 2 operating systems that are getting more and more invasive in our privacy.
Well, that's why you can use Tiny 11.
Right.
That's basically Windows 11
I
on it.
I don't. You know what? I'm going to have to keep an eye on things like that. But the problem with modified operating systems is who modified them and what did they do to them, and what is Microsoft going to do about that? Because Microsoft doesn't like it when people make modified versions. That probably breaks
Right.
some kind of term of service and copyright law. So I'm not trying to be dismissive of that, and I know oftentimes, I end up like people throw options at me and I shoot them down, and that doesn't mean that I've shot it down permanently. That just means that's my thought right now as I work through all these options, because I have a problem with every fucking option. So I got to compromise somewhere. Go ahead, Mars. Sorry, Mars, you were saying something? Did I keep cutting you
Oh,
off?
no. You didn't say anything. I was reading chat. I'm sorry about that.
Okay. Let's see. So I
Apparently, they don't want a white circle.
Mars, you need Spike Race and Mars. You need to add an
Maybe I'll
avatar.
have AI do an avatar for me. What do you think?
I don't know. Well, you could basically. I don't know if it lets you. You know what you could use? You could use something like what's that thing called with the cheeseburger? Face rig. You could.
Oh, there's a ton of them. There's VTube Studio. There's a bunch of them I could set up if I really wanted to.
Yeah, so you could set up a face rig. Hey, you could set up a face rig and be the cheeseburger, dude.
I don't want to be a cheeseburger.
And then we can get a pitch voice, pitch
No.
shift.
There's I have a 4060 in this laptop. I could actually do pretty decent real time speech to something you would not think is for me at all.
Oh,
I just don't.
okay, it's all good.
Yeah.
So the thing is that I'm pretty sure over time I could come up with a Linux solution that works for me, because Linux. It's not that Linux doesn't work with hardware. It just doesn't work with hardware the way that you'd expect it to out of the box. But I do believe that through some of the options that have been suggested, I could modify run software that, I mean, Linux does recognize my audio interface. It sees it, and if I want to install an audio editing software, I could record with it. Can I make it work the way I stream the show? Not out of the box easily. But there are options there that if I keep playing around with it, I could, bit by bit make it work. And using things like Wine, I can make Windows apps that I rely on. I mean, there are people that are playing Grand Theft Auto on Linux machines. There's not a Linux version of Grand Theft Auto. I think they're using Wine because you install Steam in a Linux version, but the library is still, whatever version of the game's available. So it's that's the thing. I installed Steam for Linux, and I thought, oh, that's great. It's going to have Linux versions of all the games I have in Steam. No, there's still Windows installers within Steam, so you still have to. But people are doing this. Linux has gotten a lot more user friendly in the past years.
Does Steam? I know, but does Steam tell you that you need to install Wine?
They don't guide you with that, because the Steam app itself is a Linux app.
Yeah, here's a version for Linux. Good luck.
Yeah, that's kind of what it is.
Because they're in that area, they're going to be elitist pricks.
Dune writes in, does it force ASIO on the interface? I honestly don't know what the OS is trying to do. It sees it as a 4-channel device, so it might be trying to use it as an ASIO. But all I know is when I select it as my default sound device within the OS, nothing comes out. So even though it sees it, the OS itself won't work with it as is out of box. Now, I've gone to Behringer, and I told their support I want them to come up with a driver solution that will make it work in Linux. And they came back with the whole, it works fine. You have to install the right driver for it. And you got to install the software for it. And I'm like, no, I want it to work in Linux the way it works in Windows, the OS, where it breaks out into stereo pairs. And they keep saying, well, you got to install the right software for that. And I'm like, no, you need to make a driver that does that. And at some point,
or you go, yeah, but which software?
That's the thing, and I don't expect Behringer support.
That's the real question. What frickin' software?
Here's the thing. Why do I do these things? Do I do these things because I expect success? No, I do these things because I have 10 paths in front of me that I don't expect success from, but one of them might work. So I'll bang on Behringer
Right.
support. I'll talk in the chat rooms. I'll read the threads. I'll troll the forums. I'll, do this and the other thing. And eventually one of them might work out. So do I really expect to get anywhere with Behringer support? Probably not. But I am going to
Now,
continue
does-
to press them
Does Behringer
to do what they can. Go ahead.
Does Behringer have all of your information?
Yeah, and I've been cordial and polite with them.
Yeah, no, I mean, which OS, which device, which blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
blah,
I mean,
but
I-
that worked under Windows?
I've opened the support ticket under the serial number, and I've told them I'm trying to use it in Mint Linux.
Gotcha.
And I guess the question is Mint Linux really the distribution I want to go with, and why did I go with Mint Linux this time? And basically, it came down to I actually Googled the topic. What are people doing that are concerned about privacy concerns in AI? And the general go-to is Mint Linux. Why is that the general go-to? Because it's very user-friendly, which means it's a beginner's Linux. Do I really want to be on the beginner's Linux long-term? Is that really going to offer me everything I need? I don't know, but I am finding a lot of things easy to do. So... And that's a conversation I almost want to have with the Mint Linux chat room people over in IRC, because the people that are hanging out in this chat room, they're in a chat room about Mint Linux, but they're Linux geeks. I don't think they're using Mint Linux on their daily drivers. I think they're just involved with the project or involved with helper support, and so I almost wonder if I could get them talking, like, what is your association with Mint Linux? What do you think it's good for? What do you think it's bad for? And what do you think my path should be if I want to build a computer that's going to do this, that, and the other thing? And of course, I'll get 20 fucking different answers. But Jack is the thing that Jack is part of it. I've played with Jack. I haven't figured out what the hell it does because I installed Jack and it gave me an empty window. And it's like, oh, well, you got to install this. Oh, well, you got to install that. And I'm like, does anyone have a guide from beginning to end? But I'm trying to do something that no one else really tries to do, because generally people just want it to work with specific softwares. Although I guess in a sense I am trying to get it to work with a specific software, that software being my web browser. But that's generally not how people run sound. So yeah, I spent some time playing with Jack, the software for Linux. I didn't get Jack to do anything. It didn't do jack shit.
What is Jack? Is it like AI something or what?
It's a sound. It's a software for Linux on configuring the routing of sound, I believe.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of like virtual wires or something like that. I think there was Windows apps that would do virtual wiring that I could never make do a damn thing I wanted it to do. So I gave up on that long ago. Mars, you were saying?
Virtual cable. That was it.
Yeah. So basically, I at some point I got to a point where it's like I have things I want to get done in Vegas, because I had another Friday Night Video episode I wanted to finish, and it's like this is not going to be banging out in a weekend type of thing. This is going to be weeks, months. Basically, I have until October of next year to figure out what I'm doing about Windows 10 on this machine. So if between now and October of next year, I can get more comfortable with Mint Linux to a point that I can bit by bit make it like if I get to a point that I could do the show on Mint Linux, that right there is a step. Then I can start thinking about, can I make SoundForge work in Mint Linux, or could I find an open source audio software that does all the things that SoundForge does? Then I've also got my noise reduction software that's very specialized that I don't think I'm going to find a Linux equivalent for. So I'm going to want to figure out a way to, within Linux, run Isotope RX7 audio editor, because it's got this great spectral noise reduction that I use for all my things.
Software you should try that's really good at audio editing. Use Reaper, R-E-P-E-A-R. Reaper. from
Okay.
Linux.
Well, I just passed the building that used to hold fries
Cool.
Fry's Electronics.
Oh, fries.
Still
Yeah,
empty.
use Reaper. It is really good.
Apparently, a Micro Center is opening up a store in the Bay Area,
Mm.
although it's Santa Clara, not that close to me.
So I'll check out
But I
Reaper.
guess
Reaper
better
is
than nothing.
really good, Gators.
Right?
You will like it. I've been
Oh.
using it for a little while.
Yeah, we're not changing topics right now, Brian, but that's really cool what you're driving. by.
It was just what I was passing.
That's cool. That's cool.
Ah,
But
I wondered actually what was going in that fries.
no
honestly,
cows
but
so
yeah.
far.
and so I need isotope for my noise suppression.
That should
Um,
do. It's a
Yeah.
plugin, right?
No, isotope is actually an audio editor, but it's got a sound reduction plugin built into it, and so basically I open it up just to do the noise reduction, and then I close it and I bring it back into SoundForge.
Is that Mars talking, or is there some sound in your head?
Oh, can you not hear me?
Because I can't hear Mars.
You can't hear Mars?
It's
No.
okay.
I mean, I'd have to have the Twitch playing, but
Well-
I think that might interfere with the Skype talking.
Well, Mars, talk now.
Talk now. What am I talking about? Brian, can you hear me?
Hey, now
Hey.
I can hear you.
There are a bunch of little buttons on this
Did you-
board that easily get pressed accidentally, and the button that lets Mars get sent to Skype got pressed into the off position, which is something that has gone
Oh.
unnoticed because we rarely use Skype anymore.
Oh, maybe the cat pushed it.
It could have been the cat.
Yeah.
Right.
You didn't realize this whole time that I was talking to Mars?
Well, I kind of figured as much, but I couldn't hear him, so I wasn't sure where things were coming and where they were going.
Ah,
That's why I was asking irrelevant questions.
I see. Well,
Do you want another AI story?
well, to be fair, Brian, we really didn't notice that your questions were less relevant than normal. So that
Exactly. Exactly. At least this time I have an excuse.
yeah. So you have another AI story.
Sort of. You know, you go into a website, you log in, and then it comes up, I am not a robot.
Okay.
You click that, and then it comes up with a series of pictures,
Okay.
and it says, okay, which squares have a bus?
Right.
Which square has a motorcycle? Which square has a, you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Anyway, so I got this, and 3 times I failed
Are you a
to
robot?
prove that I was not a robot. And so, exactly. And then the 4th time, hey, I made it. It let me through. I am not a robot. Yay! At this point with AI, do you think that the robot would take more than one try?
Well, here's the
I think it would get it every damn time.
here's the thing. Well, here's the thing. We really don't know how that technology works, because I think it's more than just clicking the right things. I think it's been suggested that thing is actually analyzing the mouse movements and the timing, because generally robots are a little too perfect or too predictable or use patterns that are recognizable as automated, whereas a human's going to be a little bit more haphazard as to where they drag the mouse, how long they hover over things, so
Well, actually, I was on iPhone, so it was the touch screen. Tap, 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 tap.
right. But it would see
It's
what
not gonna see
locations.
the movements.
Well, it's going to see timings between the taps, how long it took you to tap between taps, where on the picture you tapped. So there is data there to analyze to run an algorithm. Do we think this was automated, or do we think this was a human? Now that's the type of thing I'm sure AI can continue. I mean, it's like spam. It's all out war. One side's going to try to defeat it. The other side's going to step up the game.
Yeah.
But it's not
Well,
as simple as you think it is. It's not just identifying pictures. It's analyzing that whole process.
Well, I mean, the AI could say, tap, wait a second, tap, wait 2 seconds,
But
tap,
and then we
wait
could go.
a second and a half,
But then it could
just
become.
randomly.
But predictable patterns will emerge that could be filtered. Kind of like,
Well, or essentially, if AI starts defeating it, then that whole am I a robot thing would disappear.
Oh,
They
no.
would come up with a whole new
Did-
new scheme.
Did spam filters disappear when spam started misspelling words to get around filters? They just tweaked. That's all you got to do. You got
Sure.
Yeah, I
Sure.
mean, I'm sure these
Sure.
technologies are already evolving. These technologies we see and take for granted every day. First of all, we have no idea how effective they are, how much it's reducing bots, and what the hell bots are doing with them. For all we know, there is a whole war going on behind the scenes that we're completely oblivious to, and that they're always changing it
Sure.
and fine-tuning it. It's much like a spam filter. We don't think about that because
Sure.
we have no idea what it's
Sure.
doing. But in our time, we saw where spam would get through because they started misspelling words that were used as filters, or they started using images of text rather than text that could detect. And then we saw the tools fine-tune and suppress it. That's exactly what it is. It's not just yes, it is very easy to build an AI that does the task. But there's a whole lot more going on behind the scenes than that. So at some point, we're going to use AI to detect AI, and then they'll partner up and destroy us all,
Exactly.
and lock us out of all the
And
sites.
you check your bank account and it's empty.
Yeah.
You have heard about these brains that they're actually taking brain matter. I think on brainoids or something, and they're taking like 4 to 16 and melding them together, and using them partial for knowledge and stuff, right?
What now? They're
I gotta find a link for you later.
they're
on.
mining our brains for
No.
knowledge?
These are brains that are not being used by people. They actually have been creating brains that do
Wait.
use the brain.
they took the brains from Congress.
That would not give
No,
you
that would be
much
nothing.
knowledge. though.
But you said they took brains that were not being used for knowledge, or something to that effect. So I'm like,
I'm gonna
oh,
find this in a second.
I see what you're saying. They went to Congress. They gathered their brains. I won't start naming names because you could all fill in what names you think belong there. So it's a joke that works for
You can
everyone.
put anything you want. It doesn't matter which party, which
No. They have brains.
Flavor,
They
which-
just don't use them.
right. Exactly. And that counts for all of them.
Dune writes in, like auto mouse movement and a portable VBN to look like you're home working while on the beach. I've actually worked on the beach. I did take my laptop to the beach.
Cool.
Like there was a Friday that I had a half day, but for some reason there was one time where I ended up driving down Thursday night, and I was actually planning on just taking the laptop with me onto the beach and literally working on the beach. And I think I ended up just working from the house and then going to the beach. But still, I technically did that. So, where were we?
I think I'm stuck in traffic.
Oh. Oh dear.
I was dreading this.
Yeah. Well, it is inevitable, isn't it?
Yeah, I was well on the road and I realized, oh shit, I'm going to hit heavy traffic toward the end of the run.
I'm
Yeah.
kind of surprised right now you'd have
about-
big traffic. I thought it would be lightening up.
Not the Sunol grade.
Oh, that's always messed up though.
This is when it's.
Oh.
This is when it's at its worst.
Dune has been looking at a
It'll
new
be like
case.
this
Should he pounce on
until-
this?
Looking at a new
Oh,
gun
yeah.
case.
Gun kit?
A gun case.
Case.
See, Dune never talks about buying a gun. He only
Sparky says
he
yes.
he only talks about buying a gun case. But generally, one only buys something if they need it for some reason. And the only reason one would practically buy a gun case would be to stash junk food, obviously. And so that
Right. You know, and he's smart. He's not talking about getting a violin case.
Hmm.
He's not getting a violin case. He's getting a gun case.
Yeah. Well,
That's brilliant.
I will say I'm thinking of selling some turntables.
What? Wait, what?
All right, walk with me here a bit. So here's what happened. So way back in the 70s, Ordofon was making a nice line of moving coil cartridges.
Yeah.
And generally, moving coil cartridges output at a lower level, so they require an extra step of amplification before you connect it to a standard turntable input. And there are pros and cons to using moving coil cartridges versus a moving magnet cartridge versus a ceramic cartridge. There's also a type of cartridge called semiconductor cartridges, but we're not going to talk about those. So anyways, there's often been thought of, wouldn't it be nice to get a moving coil cartridge that can play CD4 quadraphonic records properly? And there are people that have done things to do that with some levels of success. But generally, I've only found one such system that was specifically designed with CD4 in mind when it comes to a moving coil cartridge, and that was made by Ordofon. And Ordofon manufactured a cartridge with the model number the SL20Q, which was a part of the MC line, because there was the MC10, the MC20, the MC30, basically being three different similar cartridges at different price points and to different detailed specs. The MC30 being the highest, the MC20 being the mid-grade, and the MC10 being kind of your budget version, even though these are all high-end. And so the SL20Q was the specialized version of this family of cartridges that was designed specifically to be able to play back CD4 quadraphonic records. And it required a head amp to amplify it up to the level that a demodulator would accept. And so it would pair with the MCA 76 head amp, which even has a specialized noise filter built into it to preserve the CD4 carrier signal properly. And
By the
so,
way, what's the difference between? Excuse me. What's the difference between a head amp and a preamp?
well, a head amp is to bring a moving coil cartridges up to the level that a preamp would take, because a moving coil, a moving magnet cartridge.
So it's a preamp.
That is another term. That is another term for a head amp. That absolutely is a legit term that is used for them at times.
Shit, and I thought I made that up.
Nope, you didn't. It could be a preamp. Now the thing is, you can use electronic amplification, or you could use passive amplification. Some people will use a step-up transformer to bring a moving coil cartridge up to the level for a preamp. So, but Ordofon's solution that would support CD4 quadraphonic playback was the SL20 cart, which I believe would go up to 60 kilohertz frequency response. The MCA 76 preamp, which has a noise filter for the supersonic frequency range to help preserve that signal, which would then feed your demodulator of choice in the preamp input.
So at some level, you're calling dogs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right? The dog whistle is what, 60 kilohertz? I don't remember.
I don't know, but the carrier,
or is it 30?
The carrier signal lives in the 30 to 45 kilohertz range. So you probably could drive a dog nuts with the proper equipment.
Thank you for stopping in the middle of the goddamn thing with the cop.
Now Dune writes in, was that called magnet and ceramic? No. This is ceramic is not in this equation. Ceramic is kind of cheaper stuff. So this is beyond magnet, which would be moving coil, which should have a lower output than a moving magnet. When I say moving magnet, I mean what you are calling magnet. And ceramic is budget stuff we're not talking about.
Well, I just got past a crash site, which is why I was going so slow.
Ooh.
And a white Tesla let me in.
Well, what you want to do is you want to slow down as much as you can and turn your head and get a real good look at that. Yeah, don't do that. Don't be that guy.
I saw enough. I saw enough. Because it was my lane that one car got stuck in.
Yeah. And
there was a cop behind him.
So
motorcycle cop.
So anyways, I found one of these head amps on eBay, and I found one of these cartridges on eBay. Now, the cartridge, however, had a bent cantilever on it, so I knew that it wasn't going to work right out of the box, even though the listing said, oh, it's got low hours, it should be great. I looked at the picture, I'm like, that's a bent cantilever. So I threw like a low ball offer in on there. The guy accepted it, and I sent it to, there's a guy that's got a company called Soundsmith that's based in New York State. I forget the town. And so I send him my cartridges when I need work done on them. He does great work. So I sent him the cartridge with a $75 deposit that would be put towards servicing if I did go with servicing with him after, basically for him to analyze and tell me if it needs to be completely rebuilt or if it just needs a repair. And he looked at it and he said, the stylus does show some wear on it. It shows more wear on one side than the other because the anti-skate was set improperly. But despite that, it still has about 600 hours of good use on it. So you could, for this price.
Oh, shit. I'm not supposed to be in that lane.
Are they honking at you?
Someone honked and told him
Yep.
he wasn't supposed to be in that lane.
I pulled into the express lane, realizing, oh fuck, I'm not supposed to be here. So I got out of it. I'm
Yeah,
getting
they
out
told
of it.
you.
This guy honks at me. Hey, fuck you, man.
Yeah, Sparky, I heard it too.
I already knew that I fucked up.
We're gonna clip that portion there. The timing of that was perfect. I'm not supposed to be there, followed by the loud honk. So anyways, I sent it to him. He said, look, as is, it's got some uneven wear, but it should still play back fine and has 600 hours of use on it, or I could just do a retip. Now, here's the thing. The average new stylus has about a 1,000 hour lifespan. So having 600 hours of good use
That's pretty good.
means that's more than half.
Yeah.
So that said to me, I should probably just pay for the repair rather than pay for the full retip. So I said, do the repair and we'll be good. I'll have 600 hours of good time on it. So he did the repair and I get it. And it's awful for CD4. It's probably a great cartridge for stereo, but allow me to demonstrate. I recorded in a few samples here, and I suppose I shouldn't do this because if people watch my other channel, I'm now going to give away something. But for an example, here's what the back channels of Joni Mitchell Help Me sounds like played with my Signet cartridge, which is a moving magnet cartridge of the 70s that was designed for CD4 playback. And you'll hear there's some crackle, and there's a little bit of hissy sound, but generally it's... and you hear some bleed through from the separation. Now, if I bring up the front channels, you hear that it cancels out most of the drums. Let me... no, why are you doing this wrong? There we go.
Help me, I think I'm falling in love again. When I get that crazy feeling, I know I'm in trouble again.
So that's what a decent moving magnet cartridge of the quad era designed for CD4 would do.
Is that the Court and Spark album?
Yes.
In quad?
Yes.
I never realized that came out in quad.
Well, do you like that album?
Yeah, I have it. Well, I used to have it.
Well,
maybe my brother has it now. I'm not sure.
Well, they just reissued
but not in quad, obviously.
Yeah, but now you have a surround system that plays Blu-ray, right?
Correct.
Okay, they just put out a 4-disc Joni Mitchell box set that includes the 4 albums of that time period. For the Roses, Court and Spark, Miles of Isles, and The Hissing of Summer Lawns. And it includes quad mixes for all 4 of those albums and Dolby Atmos mixes for all 4 of those albums. So you buy yourself that box, you can get some Joni Quad going. You don't have to deal with this vinyl. This is just an exercise in playing with cartridges. But that quad mix has been reissued. Cool. Yeah. So that's a cool box to pick up from Rhino.com.
Right.
At some point, they might start selling them on Amazon, but generally, Rhino sells through their own store first.
By the way, yesterday I went to a really cool record store. You know, it's on the level of Rasputin Music with tons of vinyl, tons of CDs, and they also sell used equipment.
Mm-hmm.
Because we bought a bunch of albums, a bunch of CDs, and this receiver that was my sister-in-law's.
Okay.
So we had all these records. The only record he found in the box that he liked was Bob Marley.
Oh.
He says, "Wow, this one's cool."
Yeah.
But the rest of the box he had no interest in, even for his dollar bin special. And I told him about my buddy that goes to this record stores to buy dollar bin specials, and he didn't bite on that. He didn't even want any of the records.
Oh. Anyways.
And then he took the CDs. That was probably about 20 of them.
Okay.
And he took the receiver, which was I think it was a decent. I haven't looked at the rating on it. It's in an older Onkyo, just stereo. I'd have to look up I took a picture of the model number. But anyway, so I looked it up on eBay, and they were selling for somewhere between $250 and $350.
Okay.
Of course, mountain of money for shipping, right?
Okay.
$100 or plus, $125. Anyway, so guess how much the guy offered me for the CDs and the receiver?
No idea. Well, I'll go with that.
Just a wild guess.
40 bucks?
$25.
Hey, I was close!
So speaking of money, which is what we're getting to on this, so now if you notice this Signet cartridge playback, I don't know if it comes through on the phone, but for the people listening on the stream, CD4 vinyl is always going to be a little on the noisy side because you're dealing with audio that is being demodulated from a high frequency carrier signal. So it's locking in on 30 kilohertz and demodulating that out. And, so much like, tuning in FM radio, you're going to have some noise in the quiet passages. Yeah. But this isn't awful. This is listenable.
Help me out.
Anyways, this is what the Ortophon cartridge is doing when I play back the channels isolated.
Help me, I think I'm falling in love again. When I get that crazy feeling, I know I'm in trouble again.
Now, there have been people that have said, oh my God, the Ortophon system is the best system I've ever heard CD4 do. And to be fair, I don't know if their stylus has been retipped or if there's just something about the wear on the stylus that's throwing it off. I don't know if maybe they're using a different demodulator or what type of a tone arm is on their turntable. All I know is head to head, I put 4 different cartridges on this turntable. And by far, the Ortophon was the worst, dead last. So this has been a waste of my money and effort.
So you're going to sell that one?
So the first thing I did was I wanted to talk to the guy that repaired it, retipped it. Or no, not retipped it, repaired it, and get his opinion. Yeah. Not to question his work, but just, here's the thing. The guy that worked on this cartridge, he actually designed a quad cartridge back in the day.
Ooh, did you sell me one?
Jesus.
Well, he told me that the type of technology it uses hasn't held up. That's why he doesn't service them anymore, because they're not worth servicing. They're not serviceable. They just have too many problems. You're not going to find. It was a semiconductor type of cartridge that would pair
you
with
can't can't just recap them?
No.
Joking.
Thanks. But so when I called him up and he said, look, I can't speak for the wear on the tip of that stylus. I don't know. Maybe a retip might fix it, maybe not. But you might look at your demodulator, but you tried 2 different demodulators. He kind of talked me through some things. And so I kind of said to him, well, I was really hoping to improve my performance going from moving magnet to moving coil, since this is a moving coil design. And here's the thing, I caught him completely by surprise, because then he's like, you're going into a head amp? And I'm like, yeah, it requires it. He goes, but the head amp's not designed, they didn't make head amps designed for quad. And I told him, no, the Ortofon MCA 76 is designed, and I describe it to him, I tell him the button, and he's like, really? I've never heard of that. So this is a bit of an
Gotcha.
but the point was that he was making was
Hey,
that
that's better than Fool Penn and Teller, right?
that is better. I fooled the cartridge specialist. Yeah. But the important thing I got out of that conversation with him was he would not recommend going in the direction of a moving coil cartridge for CD4 playback, because moving coil cartridges are high mass cartridges, and you don't want high mass. And so I asked him, well, what's the better between moving coil and moving magnet? And I didn't realize that I was asking the wrong question to this guy, because this guy's specialty is that he makes a different type of cartridge that's better than either of them. And if I did my research, I would know I was asking maybe even a slightly offensive question asking him that.
You offended guy.
He was very cool about it, though. It's because I asked him, well, what's better, moving magnet, moving coil? And he said, moving iron. And I'm like, moving iron? What's moving iron? And he's like, I got an article all about it on my website. Basically, that's a line of cartridges that because this guy services and retips cartridges, so he'll work on moving coil cartridges and moving magnet cartridges, but he also designs and sells new high-end cartridges. And so I'm kind of like, what would you recommend I do for optimal CD4 playback? And he recommended a $2,000 cartridge that he makes and sells. And he says, actually, I got a B stock in right now because a guy accidentally damaged the cantilever on one, and he decided to not get it repaired, that he'd rather trade up. So he traded it in. So I'm going to repair it and resell it as a B stock. So I could do $1,700 on that one. And I'm like,
he'd like to sell you the stuff he makes, right?
And the money you save there, you can buy your Macintosh.
right, exactly. So I basically said, well, I appreciate your offer, because he's like, I can mount the B stock, test it. I have a demodulator here. I have some CD4 records. So if you want, I can test it, make sure that this is working good for CD4, and I can sell it to you for about $1,700. And I said, this is a purchase I'm very interested in, but this is a purchase I'm going to have to budget for, so don't waste your time with that right now. But this has been a very helpful phone call. Thank you so much for your time on a Sunday afternoon.
Did you tell him that I just bought the Blu-ray box set and it's okay?
I didn't get around to mentioning the Blu-ray box set to him, but I was that would have been cool to work into there, though. But anyways, so yeah. So now my thought is, how am I going to justify or come up with $2,000 to buy a cartridge? And then I realized, well, wait a minute. This cartridge would be a higher end cartridge than the stereo cartridge I'm using now, my Ortofon Rondo Bronze. And if I buy this cartridge, I'm going to use this for all my records. And if I sell, here's the thing. I had the SL20Q cartridge that turned out to be a bust for CD4. What am I going to do with it? I'm going to sell it on eBay. And I can sell it on eBay as recently serviced, has 600 hours of good use on it. I should be able to get at least $250 to $350 for that. The preamplifier, I could get $80 to $100 for that. My Technics SL1700 turntable that I bought to do CD4 quad, I have a 2 turntable solution. I mean, that I fixed up the capacitors on it. It's in tip-top shape, ready to go, and vinyl is sexy. I could probably get $150 to $250 for that easily. I have I have a rare Japanese demodulator that I was planning on fixing up into a studio model, which is one of these pie in the sky projects. And I'm at the point where I'm done trying to reach CD4 perfection. I want to reach CD4 playback enjoyment. There's another guy that's doing far better advanced stuff with preserving these records. In fact, I'm going to loan him some of my records because he's got a modified laser turntable that he uses at half speed to get a good rip of the carrier signal and a very specialized software process. He's getting results unlike anything I've ever heard off a CD4. So my rare demodulator that I'm never going to do anything with because it's just about impossible to do what I want to do with it, I could get probably $500 for that.
Which turntable are you going to use? The iron?
I'll use the NAD. I'll put it on the NAD, and that's the other thing.
Put on your NADs, okay?
Right. So I'm going to take the Ortofon Rondo Bronze off the NAD, and I could sell that for a few $100 too. So here's the thing, I easily have more than $1,000 selling off some of this stuff to put towards.
You need something else. Like the guy said, he has a demodulator he uses with that. Were you gonna need a different demodulator for that tip?
I have 3 demodulators. I'm only planning on selling one of them, and one of the 2 I have is the same model that he has. I know from past interactions with him. Although that's not the one I use. I use the Marantz CD400. They're both very similar demodulators. They're not worth $500. The one that's worth $500, I actually, it would not work better than either of these unless I do modifications to it that would be stupid money to get someone to do. So here's the dangerous thing that I decided not to do, because this could easily turn into the overdrawing the checking account for gas money situation. Because right now I've added up a mythological $1,000 plus in my head. So it's like, throw it on the credit card, and in a month's time I'll sell all this stuff. I'll have the money. No, I'm not playing that game because I don't know how long it's going to take to sell this stuff, or if I'm going to get all that money. But
Exactly.
a ballpark, on the low end of my ballpark figures, I usually have $1,000 worth of equipment that's redundant and I don't need here anymore. So the problem is that it's going to be a huge hassle. Boxing up a turntable to not get damaged and shipping, pain in the ass. I need to buy boxes. I need to buy bubble wrap. I need to, get good pictures of all this stuff, pack it up really nice, and then I got to hope to God that UPS don't fuck it up. So that's my current game plan, is to start selling off some of this, equipment that's not working for me to buy a nicer cartridge than I've ever owned before. That might solve all my problems and also be a better performer for all my records than anything I currently have. And I think it'll pair nicely with that NAD. I mean, that NAD turntable's $1,000 turntable. So it's got a lightweight tone arm on it, so it should pair quite nicely with a $2,000 cartridge.
Good.
Yeah.
You could sell your Windows XP machine just rebuilt.
No, never. That's a person.
I missed what he said. Suggest.
He said that I could sell my Windows XP machine that I've recently fixed.
What about your Bundy Blue Mac?
I've been considering selling the iSmacks because I really don't have any practical use for them. I certainly don't have practical use for 2 iSmacks, but
by the way,
yes.
Can you surf the web, say with Windows XP, and have it go through a VPN? Would that be secure? I mean,
no.
Safe enough?
No.
I don't know.
And I'm not talking a third party. You could build your own Linux VPN.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm fond of the answer, anything is possible, but that's not really an answer to your question. I don't know what it would take I'm not a security expert. That's why I don't work in that field. So I honestly do not know.
It'd be worth asking some guy that you work with that is that expert.
He would say,
hope that the company guy would know.
Here's the thing: if I ask the company security guy about surfing the web with XP securely, his answer is going to be no, because he doesn't care about finding a way to do it.
No, that's true.
Unless I happen to work with a security guy that is also geeky on old technology and tinkering with this stuff. But the vintage computer tinkering is a very specific subgroup. Most IT professionals are really more interested in playing with the new than the old, I think.
Well, what I'm discovering is there's a lot of people that are taking old TRS-80s and fixing them up and getting to work, and doing all kinds of tricks, making them use, USB in a TRS-80. Shit, that's weird.
That
and
is.
then all these specially drives, modern drives on, it's just okay. Good luck with that.
I mean, there are a lot of
And then
people doing-
multi-boot with Tristos and NUDOS and LDOS. Like, wow. On a multi-boot deal. That's way beyond what anybody would have thought of.
It's some interesting thing. Anyways, I do have to wake up bright and early tomorrow to catch the early train to get into the office. So I think it might be that time to wrap up the show. I think we're going to use the new theme country remix as our new closing music now.
Okay.
Because who doesn't need a little countrified hip hop in their life?
Oh, countrified hip hop, yeah.
Yeah. Did you hear that other link I posted with the countrified hip hop? The
Oh yeah.
yeah. I mean, that was a weird mashup, isn't it? To
It's like what the hell?
well, you missed the whole thing at the beginning of the show, but we'll have to play you the other thing next week. But yeah, so you've been listening to another fun-filled edition of
Insert title here.
but we do try to be educational here, and I think we've all learned a little bit here. Although I see Dune was around, but was Dune around for the Pete story? Did Dune get to hear the Pete story? Because that story was just for him. I might have to retell it next Sunday if he didn't hear it. But so
good. Well, I mean that's always good.
That's always good to just tell the same story 2 weeks in a row. But Brian, what have you learned here this week?
Yeah, but not everybody is on every show, right?
Yeah.
So the people that didn't make it could get to hear it.
All right.
So what did I learn?
Yeah.
There is such a thing as a preamp.
Excellent. And
Preamp.
Mars, what have you learned this week?
I learned Gator's final goal is to get Iron Nads.
Iron Nads. I like that. Sparky learned about Pete and Johnny's little spat.
Right on.
And I learned I learned that when Brian makes a mistake on the road, people honk at him.
Really.
And I also learned that Skype still works, and that they're now adding Copilot to be a part of Skype somehow, but I don't know how or why. But I do have a...
Right.
Oh, Copilot is asking, how can I help you today? And the example it gives me of what it can do is compose a toast for aliens.
I approve.
Should I click that button?
I mean, you could compose a test for a.
Oh, I have to accept the terms of service, and no, I don't want this. Let's not do that.
You accept the terms of service?
No, I do not accept the terms of service for Copilot.
That would throw you right down the rat hole.
Yeah, the rat hole I'm moving away from towards Mint Linux. And I've learned that
Exactly.
I have a lot to learn about Mint Linux still. But each time it gets a little better. And yeah, we need to find someone to raid. Now, apparently Velvet 7 is sucking these days. And
I'm sad the musical chairs thing is over.
Yeah, but there were some interesting picks. Now, I think Velvet Seven's only doing ASM. No, Velvet Seven's dancing again, so that's good. But we've rated her somewhat recently. Let's see. I know we raid Graceful Bard a lot, but has it been? It's been at least a month since we've rated her, right? Or did we rate her last time? I forget. I can't keep track of all these.
Yeah, I think we went to somebody else last time.
Okay. Yeah.
Then wait a minute. I wasn't on the show last time.
That's right. Well, I don't think I rated anyone last time because it was like barely a show. Or maybe I did. I forget.
Right.
All right. You know what? We're gonna raid Graceful Bard. Because
Okay, at this point, since I'm not on Skype, I'm gonna have to say goodbye, Chicago.
all right, goodbye, Brian.
All right.
See ya.
Yep.
All right. Hey, feel like going an extra half hour?
What?
Kidding. I'm kidding.
That's like.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead. Let's raid the Graceful Bard. We'll be back
that's
here next week. Same bat channel, same bat time. And, yeah. Tell Graceful Bard we said hi. And you all have a good week. And good night.
Night, guys.
All right, we're rated.